Hello and welcome at another video of the Dutchwatchdude. It's been a while, mostly because I was very busy and because there wasn't that much new watches to show, because during the corona crisis I didn't buy as much watches as usual, and also delivery is a little bit slow. The watch that I'm showing today took actually, I think, 6 weeks to get here, while normally it will be here in like 2 weeks. Don't waste too much time. You probably, I will zoom out a little bit, directly recognize the kind of watch. Of course, there is a day-date watch. The day on top, on the 12 o'clock position, and the date on the 3 o'clock position. I will probably zoom in again a little bit. The brand, now I also get directly at the hardest part of the whole video. I simply cannot pronounce it. You spell it Lgxige or something like that. You can see it with your own eyes. It's directly under the crown. I don't really care what brand it is. I saw this watch and I really like the day-date watch. I do have a black Rolex and it's one of my favorite watches, but wearing it to work and things like that is not always the best idea, because you always be a little bit careful not to damage your watch. I'm sorry for all the noises on the background, but I did made it a little bit lighter, and I see the result is the one I was after. A watch like this is pretty cheap and is actually doing the same job. It gives you all the good things of a day-date, with exception of the movement, because this is a quartz movement. You can see it. For the few people that don't know how you can recognize a quartz movement, most of the quartz movements, I mean, you do have some hybrid quartz movements that actually the second hand is run by a mechanical movement. The time is actually run by quartz movement, but to make it look better, they put a mechanical movement, especially for the second hand, and it only gives the 60 seconds cycles, and it looks nice, but yeah, it's still not a mechanical watch. A quartz movement will, the second hand will jump every second. Sounds quite logical, but yeah. Not all quartz movements do have a second hand. Sometimes they just leave it away. Don't know why. One of the reasons can be battery life, because if you don't have a second hand, your battery will run almost a year longer, because everything that the battery have to do or to power will take juice from the battery. So if you don't have a second hand, you don't use that much power. It actually makes quite a difference. So yeah, your battery life is a lot longer. This one has a Miyota quartz movement. I did check it, and indeed it is a Japanese movement from a Chinese watch. You see it quite often, but probably because of the date wheel, not many watches does have the calendar option that this watch have, because you still have the day date function, and for that you need a movement who can do that trick. The bottom, clean, Rolex like bottom. It is actually looking quite a lot like a Rolex, but they did have the decency just don't putting anything Rolex like on the watch. There is no logo, there is no Rolex on the inside ring inside of the watch. There is no little crown in the crystal. There is no, even day date is not mentioned. As you can see, probably it is day week. that doesn't make too much sense because you can still not see what week of the day it is. But from the other side, the sunburst on the dial is there. It's not as good as a real one, of course, but the best part of the whole watch is probably the price. Right now, I'm just looking at the watch on Aliexpress on my computer. You can see it, but I can. The watch is 22 euros. When I bought it, I paid 16 euros for it. Some kind of a sale. Don't get too excited because AliExpress always have a sale. I think I start to get worried if they don't have a sale. I have seen this watch in the time in between it was delivered and that I bought it, that it was even cheaper. I've seen it for 9 euros. And all those times it was including free shipping to Holland in this case. And probably that's just worldwide. But yeah, there are a few things that were worrying me because there is a lot of negative feedback. Most of the time, people are complaining that it doesn't have a Rolex logo. The only thing I can say is if you want a Rolex, buy a Rolex. If you want a cheap rip-off, buy a cheap rip-off. This is not a Rolex. It's an Lgxige or whatever. You can try it for yourself, and if you don't hurt yourself, you probably can pronounce it. I can't. Few little things. It comes on a cheap metal bracelet. A little bit like a Jubilee bracelet, but yeah, I didn't like it. It isn't. The links were not massive. They were not solid. I mean, they were the cheapest of the cheapest. The inside was just okay. The inside of the bracelet, but not even close to a good bracelet. So I try it on a vintage leather watch. For that I can probably zoom out a bit. And you can see that looks actually pretty good. It wears pretty nice. So yeah, that is a very good option. I have to say the watch, the strap is a lot more expensive than the watch in this case. But if you visit AliExpress, you can buy, or any other site. I'm not want to promote AliExpress. That's why I also don't give you the name of the shop. As soon as they start giving me free watches, I will tell everything you want to know about the shop. But till then, no way. You can buy a decent strap for like $8, $9, $10. If you want real good strap, you pay $20 in China. And the only negative part is you cannot try the strap, and you have to wait quite a while. You can go to your local watch shop and buy a watch strap there, but you probably pay like $40, $50. It's just your choice. The cyclop on the watch, it does magnify. I'm not sure how many times, probably just one time, and it is glued more or less in the middle. It's always a gamble with cheap watches. I didn't see a lot of comments after buying it that people found out the cyclops is glued really bad on the crystal. I have seen, and I'm not making it up, a watch with cyclop on the wrong side of the watch. You actually had the cyclop on the 9 o'clock position. Pretty interesting, especially if the date window is on the 3 o'clock. But probably they just put the crystal the wrong way in, or they glued the cyclop on the watch while the watch was already assembled, and they simply didn't know what they were doing. Those kids, you know. Excuse me, I'm no longer coughing so much, so every now and then I still make some noise. Quick sip will fix that. You can get this watch in almost every color you like. I have here in front of me the page. You have gold white, you can get it in a silver bracelet with a white dial, you can get it in a cherry red dial with a gold bracelet. You can get it in black, you can get it in green, you can get it in yellow. You can get it in all colors of the rainbow probably. However, I haven't seen a pink one. Not that I that much care for pink watches, but just saying. Is there anything else I can say? Well, you can probably hear it. It sounds kind of solid. It feels kind of solid, especially when you remove the bracelet. I thought that it would be very light if I removed the bracelet, but I'm pretty sure the watch is actually made of steel and not alloy. One of the things you always have to pay attention to if you buy a watch on Aliexpress, look where it is made of. If it is alloy, you don't get a watch that's made from rust-free steel. You just get a watch that is made from alloy. And it can be anything. The backside is always stainless, but the case, a lot of times, it's not stainless steel. So pay attention to that. In this case, I'm pretty sure it is stainless steel. The weight, the way it sounds. For example, if you hold the watch against your ear, you don't hear it ticking. You really have to listen really good, and it have to be really silent. The very cheap watches, they are very small, they make a lot of noise, and the casing is thin alloy and they are hollow, so you can, the sound of the ticking of the watch is amplified inside the casing, and they make actually quite a lot of noise. Easy to hear. In this case not. It's a good thing, it feels solid, and it probably can have a little abuse. It's not a big deal if you abuse it and it breaks, because you can buy a new one for, again, 22 euros. 22 euros for China watch isn't that cheap, because I was just realizing, if you buy a fake watch, you pay around 35 euros for a fake day-date, a fake Datejust. You get a 38 or 2830 movement in it, and it runs. A lot of the parts are probably the same, like the casing, for example. You can easily put a mechanical movement in it, and you have a watch that is actually powered by a mechanical movement. It will probably not run better, because one of the few real good things about a quartz movement is they run perfectly. If you have a quartz movement that is running bad, then you have a real bad movement. And I don't think they even know how to make movements that are not running, of not keeping time well. 30 minutes isn't a lot for a short video, so I just realized I have said everything I want. The only thing I can add to the story is there will be more reviews probably next month. I have a little bit more time now. I have a few watches around that I have to review. I have the Nomos Ludwig. I have the Swiss watch that I got as a freebie on Aliexpress. That is a black quartz chronograph. And a few other watches that I actually have laying around. I probably will do something with my Omega. The Seamaster probably also wants some review time. I did order the new one, the No Time to Die version, the orange Seamaster, but that will probably take a little bit before it arrives. Till then, I thank you very much for watching this video. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like watches, you can always follow me on the Instagram. My Instagram is Dutchwatchdude, very easy to find. You can leave some comments if you want. If you don't like the video, no problem. Just keep in mind, I'm a watch collector, I'm not a video maker, and to be totally, completely honest, I don't care too much how my videos are. I try to give some information, but I don't do it to make money. That's probably why I don't even edit my videos. Everything is done in real time, and Again, if you like it, enjoy it. If you don't like it, I'm sure there is something else to do with your life. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you again at a new video from the Dutchwatchdude. Stay safe.